please. Jay, please state your name for the record.
My name is Jay Harvey. I'm here individually and on behalf of the Texas Trial Lawyers Association. I can't see the chairman through this. Kind of twisted there. The first thing I'd like to do is two prior points. Is one, at Trial Lawyers, we respect and understand what these healthcare providers have been through. And I don't want anyone on this committee to think we don't understand what dire circumstances this has been. That's first. Second, Chairman Hancock, thank you for allowing trial lawyers to be involved in this. I've been down at this Capitol lots of years, and lots of years we were not included in the opportunity to work. And so with you and your staff have been wonderful. Thank you for letting us do that. So let me just address some concerns about the bill. I'm testifying on the bill. I think I registered against, but I need to change that to on. Let me address some concerns about the bill. First off, I agree with you, Senator, that we do need to protect against frivolous lawsuits. And that's a grave concern for us, as I know it is for you. However, and as Senator Mendez asked in his question, the thing we have to be concerned about this legislation is, are we going to throw out the baby with the bathwater? Is this so broad that it's picking up cases that are really not COVID-related that are going out the window? As worded, I think the statute probably would do that. We're working with you, and I appreciate that, to find some language. Let me disagree with my friend Brian Jackson on one thing. The difficulty with the bill as it relates to the ER statute is this. You're right, ER has been in since 2003. But it is a defined term. The broadness of the language here, where it says related to or impacted by. The bill doesn't, I disagree with Brian in that the bill doesn't say whose burden that is. If the defense says it was impacted by, does that flip the burden that the plaintiff has to prove that it wasn't? Or does the defense have the burden to prove that it was? We have submitted language that we hope can address that. Brian said that it had to be actually caused by the pandemic, and the language says impacted by. Number two, we'd like to see that, to make sure the declaration is statewide, not local, and that the declaration has an ending time. Right now, we're still operating under a Hurricane Harvey declaration, and we would like to see it, and it addresses what the doctor said. Our standard of care has changed over 6 months, so stopping this at the end of 6 months. And finally, I guess, because of my limited time, we would like to see that the obligation to prove this is on the healthcare provider. We understand we can address that if that's the case, but identify the facts that support their position, then we can litigate that. Because if they're required to identify those facts early in the litigation, that may result in a case getting non-suited because of the circumstance. Lastly, just wait 1 second, is we do not believe that Section 3, and I'm only addressing Section 2 and 3, that under Section 3, the protections in Section 3 are unnecessary because all of those protections exist in Section 2, Chapter 74.
All right.
Thank you for letting me.
Thank you very much for the testimony. Question, Senator Hancock.
So didn't we add language on page 5, Section 2 that said, specifically at y'all's request, and ending on the date that the declaration terminates? Isn't that what y'all recommended?
I believe what we'd sent over was 180 days after a declaration was made. We sent over last night.
Last night, but prior to that, this was y'all's language that you recommended, and ending on the date the declaration terminates. Before you changed mine last night. Rather
than extending it the 60 days. But
okay.
After seeing where we were with continuing with Hurricane Harvey declarations, we thought, and addressing what the doctor said, standard of care has now changed, and because they're so adaptive.
But this was y'all's language up until last night that we added to the address.
I think it's fair to say that is true in our early negotiations in the bill.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you very much for your testimony. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Christian, and follow.